everyone. Again, welcome to the 4th annual TLN Unconference. I am Kate Giovacchini. I'm the Managing Director of the Trusted Learner Network. I feel very privileged to welcome you all. I wanted to start off today by acknowledging Thunderbird School of Global Management for hosting us. I hope everybody enjoys this beautiful space. Yes, applause, 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 fabulous. I'd also like to make a land acknowledgement. ASU and the Thunderbird School of Global Management acknowledges that the school is located on the ancestral lands of the Acamel Odom people and the Peeposh people, and further acknowledges that Arizona is home to 22 tribal nations that comprise 27% of Arizona's total land base. It's really exciting to have you here. I will also note for folks, there is a room 232 is set aside specifically for nursing, meditation, or prayer in case anybody would like to take advantage of that. But with getting those little administrative things out of the way, and let's go ahead and get started. I invite Lev Gonick to go ahead and open us up.
Thanks, Kate. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lev Gonick. For those of you who I haven't had a chance to meet, it's so great to see so many folks who've been not only on this journey, but other journeys related to really focusing in on leveraging technology to advance student success. I have the privilege of working with some fantastic people at ASU inside enterprise technology, and actually I think our real privilege is that we get to work with fantastic partners across ASU who are driving student success every day. I want to just share for those of you who perhaps are new to this particular unconference convening, thanks to Kate for continuing to be many things, including a community builder par excellence, and that's just wonderful to see Kate exercising one of her fortes, which is to bring us all together. This is actually our 4th gathering, and there are different kinds of origin stories that are part of kind of a, we made a land acknowledgement. Part of, I think, one of the wonderful attributes of the Native communities is that they have and actually respect and retell their origin stories. It's part of the oral tradition of a lot of different people around the world. This is obviously a more modest version of that, but there are different origin stories for this Trusted Learner Network. And I just want to kind of outline a couple of the sort of original principles that have been in play. And then I want to put a challenge to you before I pass the microphone over to Donna to continue the welcome. All along, it's been the view that we want to philosophically commit ourselves to empowering students to be able to control more of their journey and their experience in learning, both inside their formal learning opportunities as well as the many, many ways that people learn throughout their lives. At ASU, we use the language of learner agency, and that's part of our origin story. That was put forward as a philosophical principle before we were asked in the technology community, how could you all actually lean in to advance that principled engagement? And we've been extremely fortunate to have underwriting support from philanthropy and from our president to actually advance that work on the principle of learner agency. Of course, there were many other origin stories that people who then wanted to get together, because some of the work that was happening early on was just how could we leverage this new thing called blockchain in a creative kind of use case where we would have verifiable credentials that could be leveraged both perhaps in one university or one college or one setting, but much more interestingly, if we could share them across, whether it was in a regional context or in a national context or even an international context. And all kinds of use cases were developed to support those kinds of early ideas of how to both empower learners and at the same time begin to understand another big push along the way was the inevitability of being able to see a future in which we were breaking down the degree into much smaller component parts. And of course, micro-credentialing being kind of one manifestation of it, but at the same time realizing that we had to have a strategy for aggregating them and mixing them and matching them. And we didn't want the institutions only to control the formula by which you mix and you match the environments. We wanted students and learners to be able to do that as well. And today, for those of you who are new, you're going to see some just amazing demos of work. This has been conversation and early prototyping for the last several years. I've seen a number of the demos. They are, I think you'll all hopefully agree, giving us a glimpse into just how powerful our commitments to our philosophies are now joined with some pretty interesting technologies along the way. So to finally sort of, again, share with you that while there are origin stories for this Unconference and this gathering of people, which is, again, part of all kinds of work that is going on across the country and many other organizations working in parallel, many companies now in this space, acknowledging all of that work. I want to sort of share with you that it seems to me important to also give you a challenge beyond kind of, as it were, finding your way into the current environment. And the challenge is to understand the opportunity that, once again, we're afforded, as most of us are technology engaged folks in the education setting, is to lean into generative AI. And I don't mean that just because it's the hype item of the day or the week or the month. But if you think about the origins of our commitments to finding a way to have verifiable provenance space, the ability to actually trace provenance in an environment, the work that we're all working on today is central to the challenges facing generative AI. Today, we know that almost all the generative AI environments start with an assertion of essentially turning a probabilistic formula into a near certain articulation, right? This is I tell you with certainty the answers to the queries or the prompts that you've given the machine. Central to all of that going forward is a way to actually verify the origins of assertions. And I think that the work that you're all engaged in, that we're all leaning into, there will be a very important intersection of the technologies that we're working on here to support not only the verifiable credentialing ecosystem, but in the technology itself, opportunities to also lend ways, especially in the learning environment, to being able to essentially verify, whether it's with meta tagging, watermarks, or other technologies, that in fact the assertions that we make can be verified. And that's sort of central to, again, not only the general business cases that we're up against, but fundamentally to perhaps the biggest challenge of the next 25 years, which is how to make sure that we can be bold in the use of technologies like generative technologies, but to do so responsibly. And I think the responsible innovation that's being developed in this community has huge potential as well. So again, I want to just welcome you all to joining those of you who are new to the journey, for those of you who have been here from the beginning, and some of you who actually have prehistory with this community. Thank you for being with us and continuing to lock arms with us as we try to advance this very noble cause. With that, Donna Kidwell.
Thanks, Lev. It is amazing to see you all here. I think this is an incredible space. And I wanted to ask just a little bit as I kind of scan across the faces. You know, Lev just described that we've been on a 4-year journey. So I'd like to ask anybody who was here the first year. Yeah, I can verify that. The second year? Keep your hands raised. The online year. The first year, there was this pandemic. So for some of us, it was the first or last time that we saw each other for almost 18 months. It depended on when our orbits got back together again in real life. Okay, the third year, if you were here any of the first 3 years. All right, and who here today is the first time at a TLN event? Oh. Welcome. It is very exciting, and I think that it's a wonderful demonstration of this incredible work, because while it may be your first TLN event, it is, I am almost certain, not your first part and path on this journey. The work that we've been doing for years to kind of establish the baseline by which we now are building momentum is really incredible, and I just want to take a minute and really appreciate the momentum. I mean, some of that is because we now have colleagues who realize artificial intelligence is going to be, oh, maybe we need to hustle? That's great, but it really is building on this incredible work that everybody's been doing, whether it's digital credentials at your institution, whether it's standards work, technology development work, it's really fabulous. Okay, so we've had a sense of the time that we've spent together and our newer colleagues. We're also really vastly distributed in terms of where we're from. So I'm going to eyeball my friends that are maybe the furthest west from Fairbanks. Hello, Alaska. And then ask, can I get a call out for other states that are represented? Texas. I hear that. I love Austin. Florida. Okay, Alaska to Florida. Anything else in between? Utah. Maryland, North Carolina, gorgeous state, Virginia, Illinois, New Mexico, New Hampshire, good grief. Who am I missing? Oh, hello, Phil Kilmarney, somewhere over there. There's a Colorado. So not only are we, over time, doing this incredible work, but across the country? Do we have anybody international joining us? We have in years past. Not this year. Yeah. Okay. Kate gave me a bunch of fast facts about you guys. We have students that we're going to view later today. Some of them were able to come and be on this journey with us this morning. So are there any students in the audience? Or do we, yes, hello. I get to spend time with you. Chris, wonderful to have the students here. They'll probably be in and out throughout the day. They don't have finals as an excuse if they're ASU students, but they may have recovery as an excuse. All right, we're also representing a whole different just landscape of the community. So I'm gonna ask for another call out. If you are here from an educational institution, tell us where you're from. This table. Western Governors, a school district. Okay, and I see some expats from University of North Texas. Say again? Motlow State. Over this table? Maryville. Carrie. I'm not letting you get by with being quiet over there. And this table here. Excellent, from Maricopa. University of Alaska Fairbanks. Others, are you all from Fairbanks? Awesome. Here? Excellent. Any other universities there? That totally counts. Yep, total over there by the window. Say again? U of A. Thanks for driving up. Okay, we're gonna skirt along the window here. Excellent. Bobby, anybody at your table? New Hampshire Technical Institute. Excellent. And then here, Georgia Tech. Boulder, excellent, nice tie. I love that you always sport the great ties, you and John. Over here, NAU, thanks for driving down. And I know a lot of these faces. I know where you're all from. Okay, so that covers our educational institutions, but it's not just the educational institutions that are here. So let's move into maybe nonprofits, government sector, And I won't make us go around, but kind of ask you just to, because I know we're all pretty distributed. So nonprofits? This is like a wave. Oh, well, let's ask. So share with us what kind of nonprofits, Nina? Oh, well, where are you from? Jobs for the Future. Okay, so this is kind of nonprofits dedicated towards workforce development, which probably a lot of us are. So if that kind of fits your genre, oh, they're all clustered over here. Okay, we're gonna need wider dispersal of that. How about student success? Nonprofits and student success. Yeah, this is a hard question. I've framed it all wrong. As Lev pointed out in a session that we had earlier this week, asking the right questions is going to be one of the most important things to be able to do in a world of generative AI. So, lesson learned. How about industry or nonprofits working with industry? Because I know we have quite a few foundation-type organizations that are bridging this chasm with us in industry. Where are you from? With internships and Gen Tech. And I know CKF is here. Hello, good to see you guys. All right, how are we doing on time, Kate? We're doing great. All right, so I'm gonna take a minute, and I might actually ask Chris or Martin to help me with a mic run, which means I'm gonna ask you guys a question. And I'm going to take a little bit of a book from my friend Christine Whitney Sanchez. So I'll ask you the question and then give you some time to think about it. But as you see here, and as we go through the day and actually graphically depict what's happening, activate, accelerate. The challenge question for you guys today are what are the opportunities in front of you? And then what are the issues or challenges in front of you to activate and accelerate this momentum that we're building on? Of the work that you've been doing, if you look, here we're almost at the crux of being midway through the year. You've got the rest of the year ahead of you. We're about 90 days away from those of us who are going to have students welcomed on our campus. We're certainly in the middle of great change, whether it's coming from how we think about workforce development and skill development. So if you think about the rest of the year, what are the opportunities and issues in front of you to activate and accelerate your work? I'll give you a moment. One of the things that I've come to appreciate working with Christine is the value of a moment with a lot of other people that's actually a quiet one. I'm not quite as patient as she is with how long she'll give us. So any takers? Anything come to mind as an opportunity or an issue that you'd want to tackle? Don't make me call on you. Totally gonna make me call on you.
Well, just being in this room and having talks with some people this morning and last night, I think one opportunity is that we have all the right folks gathering to meet about the right problems, and that everyone is very clear-eyed about the dangers or risks of not empowering students well or choosing solutions that don't take the student into account first. I'd say obstacles is just that we're the vanguard in a lot of ways. There's other spaces, financial spaces, regulatory spaces that see the value of digital credentials, but I think we're doing it maybe because we have some push from the top and we have a ton of desire from the bottom. We're seeing it happen here first. So we're having to make decisions that other people are kind of waiting for us to make. But I think that we have the right minds in the room to do it.
Okay, I love a lot of what you just dropped down. Incredible opportunity just because of the folks that are in this room. an opportunity to actually lead by some example with how we approach this risk, how we think about trust, how we think about transparency, the processes, the groups that met yesterday on both the technology and the governance side, and those of you who want to engage in participating in the governance and the technology. We have a really unique opportunity to actually model out how we do this, because there aren't a whole lot of models for trying to do this. I'm going to go to the table here, and then I'll come back to John. And Kate's going to have to get a vaudeville-style hook to pull me off the stage.
Right here, and ping pong over to you.
Do I stand up for this? Or?
You, please.
I think for one of the challenges is going for the workforce development part. Verified resumes are a big issue where you end up having to apply using multiple channels, but which is just a matter of verifying the candidate. So necessarily, how do we bring the right actors and the right stakeholders to look at using data and the right technologies to ensure that applicants have a very easier way to, as well as recruiters can also verify that a candidate's resume is factual, and so that's, yeah, verified resumes is one of the issues.
I love that. Tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Derek, and I'm with my firm as well as Arizona.
Well, welcome. You and I have the same malady in that my badge keeps flipping over. You can call me on that and say, hey, Donna, flip it around. I'm going to hand it over to Martin because you've got somebody on that side.
Sure. Hi, my name is Kimberly Levine Hinckley. I'm from Western Governors University. An opportunity is the momentum and interest that has grown to reach this point in which I think that we can move forward quickly. I think a challenge, which is sadly almost easier for me to think about because I'm thinking about all of our specific projects that we're working on right now. We're working with a national nonprofit organization to help them participate in the learning and employment record ecosystem, or sort of build the foundation so that they're able to participate in the future. And one of the challenges that we're facing is that so much of the work right now is still very manual, which is challenging to scale. So thinking about identifying competencies that are associated with learning, publishing those competencies in a way that is able to be associated with a digital credential that an individual is able to understand their skills and abilities, then associating the skills with the variety of job roles and job families, connecting that to advancement opportunities and workforce frameworks, and doing that both for the organization internally to show transparency around career advancement, and then externally to show how individuals take that learning and apply it to new job opportunities outside of that organization.
Just a little work. Just a little. Here, John.
John Mott with Aspirability. I'll echo the first comment, which is, Kimberly, you just laid out like just a couple of problems or challenges, opportunities, whatever you want to call them, right? There are all of the right people here, and let me just maybe issue a challenge. Like Chip and I met last year at this meeting, and we talked about how there are so many really great things happening in pockets, but are they actually making a difference for real job seekers in the real world? And a year later, we are months into a real project with the Navajo Nation connecting job seekers with employers and educators. So maybe that's a challenge for us to all think about. Yeah, the right people are here, so find somebody who you can cause trouble with and report back next year.
I can also verify that John's a troublemaker. So I'm going to stop it here because Kate's got a whole set of stuff for us this morning. But if we go to Derek's point about actually helping people verify their work, and then here to this lovely exploration of just how much work there is to expose and how to do that in a way that celebrates all that they've accomplished, And do that in a way that allows them to really shape their narrative over time as it changes, because we know the things that you do, 10 years from where you stand today is going to be a whole nother glorious adventure, and who can anticipate where that will go? So you need to be able to look back in really interesting ways and recraft your story, and then getting in trouble with one another. I think that sounds like a great call to action. I'll hand it back to Kate.
So one of the things that we asked folks to do when they were registering was to share with us accomplishments that they've achieved over the past year that represent forward momentum, that represent positive activity in our space. And I wanted to take a moment to embarrass the folks that decided to participate by filling out that slide. So this is not going to be comprehensive, but I would like to point to Andrew Fisher, NHTI, over here, who told us that he is very happy to share the VC solution that they're executing in New Hampshire. And he wrote an extra comment for me, which I always appreciate. Thank you, Andrew. You want to do this one?
Sure. And Colin Reynolds, or you must be over here. Where's Colin? Hello, Colin. Looking kind of guilty. So I think many of you know the work that the Education Design Lab is doing. If you don't, by all means, you have the day to get to know that side of this table. But I really love that you participated in this, so thanks for letting us embarrass you. And X-Credit, VSBL, a skills validation network. Okay, that sounds incredibly useful. And Experience U, which I think across the day we're going to have lots of working sessions, and you guys can actually share with us what the Experience U and these other projects are. But thank you for all of that work and for sharing it.
Yeah, I want to look for Jeff Merriman. Where is Jeff? No, that's not right. Yes, it is. Hi, Jeff. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, I got facial blindness. That's insane. So Jeff joins us from Dexterra Institute, where they've been actively working on a learner record gateway project. So Dexterra, a nonprofit that does a lot of amazing work helping primarily higher education institutions integrate with each other. Not a small challenge, but thank you for joining us, and thanks for sharing about the learner record gateway project. Excited to hear more.
Dexterra does all sorts of great work. Oh, one of our aforementioned friends from Texas, so I'm giving you a heads up, Kelvin Bentley at UT System. And I need to learn more about the work that you're doing. I know some of the colleagues of mine in Texas are doing that, but the Texas Credentials for the Future, that's fantastic, and we're really glad you're here.
Yeah, and we'll also call out Carrie Lemoy. So Carrie just rolled her eyes very aggressively back there behind Lev. Carrie Lemoy and her colleague Gillian are joining us from the MIT Digital Credentials Consortium, where they are about to produce what is it called? Credentials to Employment, the Last Mile. A great compliment to this event, I would expect, but looking forward to that, and also the work that the DCC has been doing for 3, 4, 5 years to develop open source technology that helps aid in this space. So these are just a few of the selections of the accomplishments that folks have put forward in this past year. And I'll also call out, so we have things like Texas Credentials for the Future. We had a submission for Miami-Dade indicating over 200,000 badges being issued. And I also just want to call out that we had some colleagues put for their accomplishments. I've issued badges for my program for the first time over this last year, or I'm an instructor or educational designer, and I'm starting to issue badges for my classes. And I just want to recognize that what we're dealing with is we have this massive spectrum of impact, all the way from making an impact on 20 students that want to earn extra skills and be able to present those out when they move along in the world, all the way to county and sometimes statewide initiatives that are going to advance micro-credentialing and the digital credential future that we would like to see. So can I ask everybody to give an aggressive round of applause for all of our accomplishments? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take a little time to tell you about what we've been doing with the Trusted Learner Network over the past year. So I love this space, but it's going to get weird. I think the acoustics are pretty good from the center. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I know. So the ecosystem built on trust to advance learner agency, we've been working very hard over the past year. And I just want to call out that when we started the TLN, it was with the goal and desire and energy to create solutions, to create tools, to create opportunities for the digital credential ecosystem, right? We are operating from a position that if we are not all able to move forward, we are going to get left behind. We're going to get stuck, right? We're also operating from a position of focusing on equity, focusing on how to deliver value to all of the students and all of the learners that we would all like to serve. And so let's just walk through some numbers, right? So we know that there are currently 29 million learners in the US that have some college and no degree, right? Students that have earned credit, students that have gone to class, learned incredible things, and without that final degree, yes or no Boolean, may or may not be able to get any value out of the credentials that they've earned. We know that 38% of college students transfer before earning their degree. We know that students are mobile, right? And that those transfers are often from 2 or more previous institutions, right? And at the same time, the disruptive signal that I think we've all been picking up on, 74 million digital badges have been issued to date. And that was in 2022. We think that that's a huge signal, but what does that signal mean? What are those badges? How are people using them? When we put all of this together, the story to me that this tells is that we have a lot of people that are very interested in earning credentials that provide them with different skills, that allow them to move forward with their life, that allow them to learn something that's important for them. And we have a disruptive moment where there needs to be new ways to do that, new ways to receive that achievement, and new ways to accept that achievement in order to help people move forward. So again, the Trusted Learner Network, our goal, our mission, is to build a network of institutions and organizations, thank you for joining us, that ensures the highest level of trust. It is meaningful that we have trusted in our name, and we do this through community, governance, and technology. I'm going to walk through all those pieces and tell you about the progress that we've made and invite you to join us. But I really want to emphasize here, the reason that we're doing this is because we want to increase agency, thank you, for students and learners. And we all, I think, largely agree that we do this by allowing them to collect, explore, and share evidence of their achievements gathered across their lifetime. So let's talk about community and governance and technology. Okay, great. Yeah, TLN community, let's start there. So this was our graphic facilitation from 2020. Again, can I get a hand from anybody that attended the 2020? Okay, up high. Roger Davies, sorry to call you out. So we have a cadre of folks that are veterans here, right? And that was a really exciting time. And it, again, like Donna said, was March, and then all the airports shut down. But let's take a quick look here, okay? So our community gathered together, and we were thinking about learner empowerment, digital identity, privacy, governance, value proposition. Does that sound familiar? Are we all still interested in those topics? Yes, some big nods. I totally agree. And then we move forward into 2022. So that's when we were back in person, and we had a lot of great conversation, a lot of great workshops. And guess what? Those workshops were about learner agency and privacy and governance and digital identity. And we're just going to keep building and building and building. I want to call out to everybody here a big thank you for participating in these conversations, because I think we're moving the ball forward. I know that we're moving the ball forward by having these discussions, by getting together, by mixing together and actually doing work and thinking thoughtfully. So let's talk about what we've accomplished as far as our governance. So again, I'm going to embarrass some of the people in this room by asking them to stand up, I suspect. But when we established the TLN in force, we immediately knew that we needed a governance team to help us figure out what it is that we are actually doing and what are the ethics, the modalities, the policies that we needed to adopt in order to ensure that we stayed true to our vision, right? Our vision of enabling learner agency, of enabling privacy, of making a system in which all participants can benefit. So I am very, very proud to announce that our TLN's governance group has issued 2 policies in addition to a charter, and these will be available on our website by the end of the month, but focusing in on the learner. I'm gonna call out specifically here, what are our learners' rights on the Trusted Learner Network? That takes us back to collect, share, curate, agency, having access to the things that you've earned. And we also issued something for our issuers, too. What does it mean to be an issuer in this space? What are your responsibilities? What are your rights, your autonomy, your authority? And I will highlight the group that helped, actually the group that is entirely responsible for generating this really powerful, these really powerful documents. So I'm going to ask those folks to please stand up so we can give them a round of applause. Their work this year has been absolutely tremendous. All right, let's go. I see you. Mina. Michael Torrance, Dr. Michael Torrance, Noah Geisel, Sherry Braxton, Andrew Fisher. Thank you so much for your participation, and we look forward to an additional year moving forward and have many opportunities for folks to participate. One of our governance body members yesterday in the closed session remarked, hey, I actually really just like coming to this to be able to talk to my colleagues about deep things, so we can guarantee you that. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the TLN technology. I am extremely excited to be able to present this. I'm extremely excited to be able to present this because I think it represents a culmination of the work that came through our community and also the work that came through our governance team. I wanna talk about the fact that we are focused on designing for an ecosystem, right? So learners at the center. Learners are always at the center. I'm glad that I put that learners in the center on this slide to create some cohesion. But what we need to also recognize is that we have our learners at the center, but we also have our issuers, right? Issuers who are generating fabulous education, who are out in the world to help people make their lives better, to help people learn things that they had never heard before, are fabulous issuers in this ecosystem, right? And we also have this tremendous opportunity to welcome innovative new services into this space, right? What do we unlock when credentials can flow freely? Do we unlock degree planning? Okay, cool. Do we unlock jobs? Absolutely. Resumes? Absolutely. To bring back to what Lev was saying before, can we even currently imagine the enormous potential that we will have if we can unlock digital credentials, put them in the hands of learners, and then allow them to utilize generative AI models, to build their own models, to understand their data, to compare that data with the rest of the data in the world? The services component is so vital, right? How do we unlock that additional value that sits at the top of the thing? So, okay, here we go. I'm going to show you guys some technology. And before I do that, I do want to recognize our fabulous architecture advisory team. So this is another advisory team that we engage with the TLN and bring together some really fabulous experts in the space of digital identity, technology, architecture. Could I please ask these folks to stand up and be applauded? And also Jack, and also Brooke, please. We have Carrie Lemoy, Kim Hamilton-Duffy, Andrew Johnson, Jack White, Stuart Friedman, Roger Davies, and Brooke Lipsitz. Thank you so much for your contributions this year. This is another situation where we've gotten together bi-weekly or monthly and then really just argued about some absolutely fabulous minutia underneath this technology stack, but I'm really excited to show it to everybody here today. Okay, everybody cross their fingers for me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you first what our learner experience is. So what we've attempted to do with the Trusted Learner Network and what we have accomplished is that we have developed a technology stack in which an institution or an issuing organization can host data inside of their own premises. So you can put your credential data as an issuer in your own cloud. It stays there, it stays safe, it stays within your policies and regulations. But thanks to the fabulous technology stack that we're building on, we have the ability to still make that completely accessible to learners across different institutions, across different experiences. So we're going to take a look. All right, so we are jumping in, and you guys are seeing the My Credentials page, which is our home page for our students and learners. You're going to notice here that I'm a student. I've gone to Beta Community College. Very cool. I've earned my associate's degree. I've also taken some classes. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to connect my other institutions, right? There's a lot of really powerful synergy that we can get when we can see everything in one place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my institutions. I see Arizona State is here. I'm going to go ahead and click on Connect. Is it going to make me log in? Okay, fabulous. That worked. I was already SSO'd in. Terrific. So now I see here Arizona State University. I have 8 total credentials from ASU. Let's take a look at everything together. All right. So now I have something powerful, right? As a student, I decide that I would like to go ahead and pursue an education internship in another university. Maybe it's the one that's by my home. Maybe it's the one that I'm interested in going to. So what I can do is I can go ahead and grab those credentials. I can create a bundle, right? We've talked a lot about curation. And I think what's crucial here is that the TLN is a launch pad. It's a starting point for learners in a lot of different ways, right? So I'm going to start off by typing something. I usually have impeccable typesmanship, but not today, apparently. Okay, so here we are. Here's my bundled credential. I can do a couple of things, right? So the TLN's a network, right? The idea is that an institution can launch this. You're keeping the data within your own arms where it feels safe. You're enabling it for your learners to be able to share. So one of the things that learners can immediately do is they can manage their permissions and say, I'm going to share this directly with this other institution. It's added. It's saved. As of that second, that institution can query my data, pull it back into their SIS in order to make an internship application decision or in order to execute some other process. So very cool. What else can we do with this? And I think that this is going to be really crucial. I'm looking at my learning economy folks with LearnCard. I'm looking at all the folks around here that are very, very thinking about the wallet space. Because what else we can do here is we can actually export these credentials to a wallet. So I'm using the Verus wallet, which is great. And here are my credentials. I'm going to go ahead and store them. And these are going to move directly into the wallet that I have either on my laptop or on my phone. And they should be showing up right here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so there are credentials, right? So what this means for us right here is I could go log into another computer and I would have those verifiable credentials available to present to someone else. Could also put them on my phone. But one of the crucial things that we've been working on with the TLN is this recognition that the wallet space is going to be incredibly powerful. It's going to enable students to tackle really terrific use cases around education, around employment, around learning about themselves. And students may want to use different wallets through different transition points in their lifetime. They may need different wallets that work for them specifically or not. So the TLN gives a launch pad for learners to be able to utilize that information. The other great thing, I don't want to bore everybody, but I will point out we have a lot of great permissions information in here. Learners will be able to consent, take away consent, no problem, very quickly. But I want to take you to, we were talking about services before, right? What are the powerful technologies that sit on top of this data? And I want to show you a little bit of my services. So when we click on my services, what we're really talking about is a portal. And again, Trusted Learner Network, trust is in the name, right? So how do we create a marketplace, a showroom for trusted technologies that enable learners to move forward, that don't take advantage of learners or their data, that are designed, I suspect, by many of the people in this very, very room here? We can do that through My Services, which is simply a permissions portal. So I'm going to use an example and say, I'm a student, again. I want to use an interactive degree planner, navigating college is quite difficult, right? How do I get through my program? What are my elective options? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on Interactive Degree Planner, and I, as a student, am going to be presented with information that gives me agency, right? This service requires ongoing access to the following elements of your data. Here's the data. I'm making a clear decision based on a quality of information that I have. I'm going to click Share My Credentials, and that's done. My credentials are shared with that other service. I can navigate over to that other service. I can be bounced directly over to that other service. It feels seamless. My credentials are with that service, and that service is able to provide me immediate value as I'm trying to decide what to do with my degree. We can picture this for a job board, right? For Smart Resume or other resume tools that could be effective. I feel like the applications here are really incredible. So I want to pause here. Any immediate reactions, questions? What about this from the crowd? We can all just... All right, great.
Well, you are right, Chair, so I don't really... What? My question is this a market-ready solution, or is it just a demonstration to really see what their full-scale launch will look like?
Is it a mock-up or a...
Yes, but is it a market-ready solution? Like,
Market-ready solution?
Yes.
Okay, the question is this a market-ready solution? And that is a fabulous question. The answer is that this is an alpha-ready solution, and what we're interested in doing as quickly as this summer and fall is engaging in partnerships to move this from alpha to beta and directly into production. So this is not a mock-up technology. This is built on our solid data infrastructure. It's ready to go. The challenge is going to be integration, and we're here to tackle that challenge with everybody in this room. I think we all understand that integration is a pretty tough nut to crack, but yeah, we're ready to go. We're interested in pursuing these solutions. But in order to do that, I think what I also need to do is show you a little bit about how we lay out the institutional view as well. So I'm going to switch back over, and we're going to see what the slides do. Fingers crossed for me. Okay, fabulous, it worked. Okay, so also talking about institutional view, institutions are crucial in this element. How does an institution navigate this new world? How does an institution or an organization derive value, right? So these are the initial mocks for an institutional view that will be coming out within the next 30 days, right? This shows the ability to navigate through what are the institutions that are in the TLN, who can I contact if I have questions. The profile of an institution, right? It's really crucial to be able to express these are the types of credentials that I create. These are the people that do that work. How do I enable them to be in my space? How do I add additional reviewers to accomplish the business processes that I need? Whether I'm an HR professional, a registrar, an admissions officer, or a hiring manager, right? And then here's our learner list. These are all the records that I, as an institution or organization, have access to. I can manipulate that and just sort of fully take advantage of and generate value from this list as an organization that's participating on the TLN. So I just want to reiterate, I think Donna said earlier, you know, in 90 days, all of our institutional partners and us will be having our students come back onto campus. We're already amidst a position where workforce revolution seems critical, pertinent. We're all dying for it. How do we make it happen? And I want to invite the folks in this room to participate with us, to take advantage of the technologies that we've developed here, because these technologies have been developed to enable this ecosystem, right? And they've been developed to be modular, to be effective in different situations, and to hook into the ecosystem that everybody else here is working to develop, right? As we all move forward, we're going to be able to move forward. So some of the opportunities that we'll have to talk about what's next for the TLN is really just going to be a really quick set of action items for folks here that are interested, for folks here that have been engaged. There are lots of ways to get engaged with the TLN. Number one, partner with our technology. right? So in alpha space, how do we move forward and start strapping these pieces of the ecosystem together? Our technology is designed to help everyone in this room do that. Number two, congratulations. We have all accomplished a certain level of this by being here today. So I want to say thank you for joining and collaborating with our community here, and that there's going to be opportunities to do that moving forward. I have all your email addresses now, so the number of emails I've been sending you up to this event, I'll just send more. So you can look forward to 3 or 4 emails a day. Just kidding, we will not do that, but we'll be reaching out immediately after the conference with some opportunities. And then the third piece here is like, join our governance work. Again, I think it's a huge compliment to say, this is a great space for me to get together with my smart colleagues and talk about interesting stuff. That's exactly what we do, right? With the goal of solving complex problems, with the goal of tackling the policy, technology, design challenges that face us all. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us, for taking a look at all the fabulous things that the TLN has done, for sharing the fabulous things that you have done and will continue to do. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at our day at a glance. So the welcome is practically over, so we can check 1 of 5, right? Are we feeling good about that? Next up are going to be our interactive workshops. So last year we did 60-minute workshops, and the unanimous feedback we received was, man, I wish this could have been longer because the workshops were really interactive and folks were just getting into some of the meat of the challenges that they were discussing. So what we've decided to do this year is we've paired 2 90-minute workshops. They're going to be really interactive. You're not just going to sit there. You're going to be working together, talking together, engaging, networking. Then we'll move on to lunch, and we have a student panel with 4 fabulous students that are joining us from ASU, and that will be led by Sharika here, who is joining us, and Donna. And then what we'll do is we'll go into open space technology, which promises to be a very constructive, very creative, vaguely chaotic experience where we're going to generate our own agenda and then move up 2 stories into this beautiful building and break out into sessions. So I'm really happy. I'm excited to see how open space is going to work. Whitney Sanchez is going to lead us, and she is an industry expert in this area. What I'm going to do now, okay, so we're all looking, interactive workshops, 10, 15, they start in 17 minutes. Oh my gosh, which one do I choose? So we'll go and we'll have each of our workshop speakers share a little bit, and everybody can make a decision. Great, workshops. Okay. Conveniently, 2 people that are sitting together, Dr. Kelly Page and Mina Nayak of JFF Labs. Kelly, will you tell us about your workshop?
Thank you. Good morning. So my name is Dr. Kelly. This is Mina Nayak from Jobs from the Future, and I'm from Live What You Love, social design studio that I established about 13 years ago to really look at the social design of how we develop technologies, programs, experiences, and how do we actually center people in the design of those technologies, programs, and people and experiences. So in this workshop, Mina and I are going to take you through 90 minutes of an interactive experience where you're going to uncover your story around your learning and education journey so that you can really understand how you're designing from your story, and then how can you use that methodology to really connect with the stories of learners and workers in your communities. Because we live, love, and learn in story, not data, not products, and not technology. So please come and enjoy. You will be drawing, you will be writing, it will be kindergarten all over again.
Thank you very much, Kelly and Mina, and that will be taking place on floor 3. There's about 20 signs up there, so if you go the wrong way, I think that's on you. But you will just go out to the right off of the elevators, and then here we go to Dr. Carrie Lamore and Jillian Walsh.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Lemoy. This is my colleague, Gillian Walsh, from the Digital Credential Consortium. We are going to be doing a workshop about the technology in a way that is different than maybe you've experienced before. Lots of times, we all talk about the tech in this space as though it is hard to understand and hard to explain. So today we're going to think about it conversationally, right? We're going to try to find that sweet spot for your communities where you can actually talk about this and bring this back and use the words that make sense for you. All right, so we're going to first work on like understanding overall what verifiable learning and employment records are. And then we are going to discover the language that works for you. And then we're going to come back and talk about that. Hopefully this will empower you to feel as though you have the words you need to have these conversations, and also equip you with some tools, some slides, and other resources to bring back with you. Also, as part of this workshop, you're going to be doing a lot of writing and working together on this, and hopefully some of what you do will help us with this work going forward.